Well, hello explorers. It's fantastic to be able to once again be able to talk to you about God and about all the wonderful things He means to us in Explorers Time. And I really hope you're all well and safe, and potentially if you're back at school, you're enjoying going back at school as well. But yes, so it's fantastic to be able to do these things again. So let's start with this week. We're starting again to look at Elisha. Now Elisha was a prophet. Now I wonder if you can think, what was a prophet? Now a prophet was someone special. A prophet is Elijah here, yes. A prophet was someone that God used to talk to his people, specifically in the Old Testament, when they spoke directly to God's people, the Israelites. Okay, so that is what a prophet, and God spoke to his prophet, and then the prophet spoke to the people of Israel. Now, over the last couple of weeks we've been looking at Elisha, and last week we looked at him, and I wonder if you can remember who he helped. Just think now. It was a lady, it was a widow. That's right. If you remembered, it was a widow, that's correct. He helped her because she didn't have a husband, and God helped her by giving her oil that she could sell and make money and look after herself. So we see there last week about God's provision for his people, about how he looks after them. Well, this week we're looking at how God protects his people, which is important to know, because does God protect us? Does he look after us? Well, we can learn about that in the Bible. So this week's story is all about Elisha again, alright, but also it's about the Israelite army and the Israelite king, and a king and an army from Aramea. Alright, so it's Aramea. So this is a country next to Israel, and they were kind of fighting, as they did in those days, over all sorts of things, water, land, animals, all sorts. And at the moment the Aramean king was quite powerful, and he was attacking the Israelites. And in this part of the story, we see that the Aramean king has said, we need to go and we need to destroy the Israelites. We're going to do this. And it says in the Bible that he searched all over for the Israelites, and he just couldn't find them. And he kept thinking to himself, how is this possible that they can hide from me? And then he said to him, I know there must be someone in my camp, in my army, who's telling the Israelites when I'm coming and where I am. That's what it's got to be. So he got all his generals together, and he said to them, who is it in here who's telling the Israelites all about our plans to attack them? And we find out, they go, no, it's not us, it's the prophet Elisha. He is telling the Israelite king all our plans. He seems to know all about it. Everything that we know and want to do, he goes and tells the Israelite king, and then they hide from us, and we just can't find them. So the king thought, he said, right, we need to capture Elisha, find him and capture him and bring him here. So we find out that Elisha is currently at home in his little city called Dothan, alright, and he's there, and the army, here's the army of the Arameans, so it's the Aramean army, come and they find him, and they start to go, there they are, and they start to circle round where he's living, because they don't want him to escape. And then what happens is one of the servants looks out over the woods and sees the army, and they're scared. They go, oh no, we're going to be captured. Look how big that army is. Look how powerful. Look, the soldiers and the chariots and the horses. It's no good. We're not going to survive. And Elisha says, do not worry. God is looking after us. He will keep us safe. He will protect us. And the servant goes, really? How is it possible? Look how big the army is. It's massive. It's going to come and attack us and capture us. And then Elisha prayed to God and said, would you allow the servant to see what you're doing for me and for the people here? And God opened the servant's eyes, and he saw an amazing sight. Imagine it. He saw angels in chariots, thousands and thousands of them, surrounding the village and keeping the Aramean army away. Imagine that. Imagine an army of angels keeping us safe. Isn't that amazing? And that is what God did for Elijah. He sent the army of angels to keep him safe and to keep the Aramean army away. That's an amazing thing to happen. And then so Elisha said to God, he said, well, we need to deal with the army here, and we need to get rid of them somehow. He said, would you make them blind? And God did that. God blinded the soldiers. They couldn't see at all. Now, I wonder if you've ever played blind man's buff, where you have to cover your eyes and guess where people are. It was like this for the army. They couldn't see anything. They didn't know where they were going. They couldn't see their friends. They couldn't see their comrades or anything. And they went, oh, what are we going to do? We're blind. We need someone to help us. And Elisha said, don't worry, I will help you. I will take you somewhere. And they went, oh, that's fantastic. And he took them all the way here, this city here. They all followed him, and they went into this city. And then, when they got there, God opened their eyes again so they can see, and they realised, we'll take them down, they realised that they were in the city of the Israelite king. The king was there with all his soldiers, looking down on them, making sure they couldn't escape. So they were trapped. And they went, oh no, I think we're going to die. And that's what the Israelite king said to Elisha. He said, do you want me to kill them now? But God, being God and being a gracious and holy God, he said no. He said to Elisha, don't kill them. I want you to feed them instead. I want you to give them a big feast. And that's what the king did. The king of Israel had a huge feast, and he gave them lots of food and drink and water, and he made sure all the army of the Aramean were safe and they were well fed. Which is an amazing thing. Imagine that. Their enemy had taken them in and then fed them and looked after them and kept them safe, because that was what God wanted to do. And then afterwards they were allowed to go home, and they went home to their king, and they said to the king of Aramea, we were treated so well by God's people. God is an amazing God. And it just showed them how amazing God was. He kept them safe, and then he showed great forgiveness to keep them safe and to send them back with a meal and all that they needed. And you know what? Because of that, the army of the Arameans, the king of the Arameans, never fought the Israelites again. They had peace. They became friends, which is an amazing thing. God made that happen. And you know what? For you and I, we may have difficult times. We may be in difficult situations. But we can always know that God cares for us. We're his special friend. He cares for us, and he will look after us. Sometimes in different ways that we're not sure why he does it. But God has a plan for you and for me, and for all the things he has a plan for us. And his plan is ultimately to keep us safe, so that one day we will be with him and Jesus in heaven. And that's a fantastic promise. Imagine that. That is a great thing to have. So I want you to remember as you go about your week that remember God loves you, He cares for you, and He will look after you. Alright, He has a plan for you. Alright, so as you go around, have a great week. Thank you for listening if you have been, and I look forward to doing another talk with you later. Alright, goodbye.
Hi everybody. Well, that was a really exciting story, wasn't it, with a surprise twist at the end. Who would have thought that all those enemy soldiers would have gone from fighting to having basically a big party at the end and stopping fighting with each other, the two different countries. It was really, really exciting, wasn't it? So the activity sheet you're going to find in your pack today, that'll take you through the story a bit more, and there's some quizzes to do in there and some things to colour in as well. Now you can do that now if you like, or you can do it after we've done the craft, which I'll tell you about first of all now. So you're going to need, everything you need is going to be in the pack we've given you. Apart from, you're going to need scissors, glue, and colouring in pencils, crayons, felt tip, whatever you like to colour in with. So because you've been hearing about soldiers, I thought we could start by making a shield. So if you're going to take the paper plate that's in your pack, and there's also going to be a yellow sort of round circle thing. Now shields have what are called a shield boss, not like a boss in the office, but a boss that goes in the middle of your paper plate, your shield, and that just helps to make the shield sturdier. So you're going to stick that on there with some glue, and then in your pack you're also going to find a sheet of paper with some pictures of this. I've got some cool swords there, and a bow and arrow and a spear, so you can cut those out, or you can colour them in, cut them out. You can get your grown-up to help you if you're not quite sure about cutting out. And this is one I made earlier. You can see I've made I coloured them in, and over there on the boss, on the top of the shield boss. You can draw other types of weapons if you know about other types of weapons. Now we could just end it like that with the shield, but what I was thinking, that in the story, all the fighting ended, it turned and changed to having a feast at the end. So what I've done is I've turned my shield into a dinner plate. Lots of yummy things to eat. You can see there we've got what we got. We've got a hamburger, we've got donuts, we've got some watermelon, got some pizza, lots of yummy things to eat. I don't know what things you guys normally have at parties, but that's just a good start. So in your pack, you're going to find some more sheets of paper. So there's lots of yummy food you can colour and then cut up. Maybe get your grown-up to help you. And there are also lots of vegetables and fruit. I'm sure your parents would be happy to see that on there. So the idea is to turn the fight into a feast. All right, hope you guys enjoy your activity, and lots of love to all of you, and hope we can see you soon in the church. Lots of love. Bye.